So, boys, the term league winner is thrown around all the time. Everybody and their mom is a league winner. In this video, I'm going to give you guys a guy who I truly think is the definition of a lotto ticket. This dude can either be a dude who can help you win your league, otherwise known as a league winner, or he can end up being nothing. And it depends on a couple of variables. It depends on a couple of things going his way. But I think there's a path. And the reason I'm going to bring up this dude is because I think he's very cheap to obtain right now. You can probably find him on a lot of waiver wires, right? Yeah, or you can trade him for almost nothing. Pennies on the dollar. And the dude that comes to mind for me, guys, is Marvin Mims Jr. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. He hasn't done jack shit for the last couple weeks. He had like 2 big weeks of like fluky, low snap rate, low target rate, low everything, but he popped off, right? I know he had like a special teams touchdown, some nestled somewhere in there. But I want to present to you my case, my thesis for why Marvin Mims Jr. could be a league winner. Now, looking at the rest of the season's rankings, that's what I have pulled up here on the screen. Marvin Mims Jr. has a good schedule, 4 out of 5 on both seasonal and playoff strength of schedule. Now, Marvin Mims Jr. he's ranked 45th in terms of rest of the season. I think the reason for that, the reason why Fantasy Pros has him as high as they do, right after Cortland Sutton, which to most people wouldn't make much sense because Marvin Mims isn't even seeing the field. Now, let me tell you guys my reasons for it, right? First thing is going to be trade rumors, trade speculation. So to put it simply, Jerry Jeudy seems like he's out of the door. Like it seems like he's going to be shopped at the deadline. I mean, the Broncos are 2-5. It looks like they might be giving up on this season and looking toward the future. And trading Jerry Jeudy is a way for them to get some capital back in return for Jerry Jeudy. Now apply that same thing to Cortland Sutton. I don't think Sutton ends up going anywhere. I think it'll be one or the other. But there is a world in which both of them get shipped. If the Broncos maybe lose this week, I can see them just being like fully like, fuck it, dude. So you never know. Marvin Mims could be like the last man standing, right? It'll be like Mims and what is it, Brandon Johnson or whoever the fuck keeps getting snaps over Marvin Mims. But anyway, so that's point number one, right? Point number one in the thesis. Point number two, Sean Payton. Sean Payton got one of the fattest coaching contracts. He got plucked out of his commentary role and given a head coaching role. And in his first season, he was like my uncle, dude. He was like my Arab uncle who doesn't know anything about football. He was bad. He's one of the worst coaches in the NFL this year. His creativity is dog shit. His like offensive scheme seems to be like not fit for the personnel he has. His defense has actually been playing pretty well, but they just can't score, right? Is that now, haters might say, oh, it's because of Russell. Russell's cooked, right? Like Broncos, Broncos country, let's ride. So it could very well be Russ, but I'm not seeing any creativity. I'm not seeing like something that was working for them was Jaleel McLaughlin. He was dynamic. He was a spark plug. He was an energizer bunny. What did they do? Phase him out for Javonte Williams, who, to his credit, looked good. He looked good. He looked effective. He was between the tackles. He's a pretty solid running back. But there's no juice, right? There's no like electrifying, like big play potential with Javonte Williams. Is he going to bust off a long touchdown? I don't think so, dude. I can already see the fucking, Giga Brain in the comment section telling me like Javonte Williams has, higher yards after. I don't give a shit, dude. Javonte Williams is just slow coming off an ACL injury. Like, and that I don't even know why I'm talking about Javonte Williams, but Sean Payton has something to prove, man. Sean Payton needs to prove that all that money they threw at him was worth it. And I think Sean Payton he's never going to be the type of coach, especially considering that fact, to just fully pack it in and just fully be like, fuck it, let's go, 2-16 or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't imagine that happening. I imagine him continuing to be like, I can see them ending the season at like, 6-11 or 6-12. I don't know. There's 18 weeks now, right? 6-11 because there's 17 actual played weeks. So I can see that happening. I can see, Marvin Mims, if those factors remain true, right? I can see that Mims can be effective. Now, moving on to Mims himself, right? And why I think Mims, like specifically, will be productive if those things were to happen. So first, we're going to look at Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, actually ranks pretty well in terms of like deep throws and deep throwing in general. So we what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to PFF and I'm going to go to passing depth. This is basically showing you some advanced stats for all the big time throws in the NFL, right? So what I like to do is start off, go to big time throws followed by volume. And you see that Matthew Stafford's number one. Dude's an absolute beast. Matthew Stafford just dominates to like intermediate to like long range throws. He's got 15 total big time throws with a 44% rate. And he's very effective. But looking down the list, you see Russell Wilson is tied with Tannehill and Derek Carr at 7. Now Tannehill, like, who here doesn't belong? It's Tannehill, right? He's got 5 interceptions on his 9 big time throws. What is you doing, my boy? But anyway, moving along, you see that the names on this list are guys that we would consider to be on like dynamic, high-powered, high offenses, other than Sam Howell, obviously. But everyone else on this list, those are like names you want to be associated with, right? Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen, Tua, Jalen Hurts, and Stafford. Like, you got Russell Wilson right there. Right there. And Derek Carr, before his shoulder injury, was also right there. But obviously, since then, his numbers have really dipped. But Russell Wilson, he scores well on big time throws. So he ranks 91st, or not ranks, but he scores 91 on PFF. And he's got 9 big time throws at which is a 30% rate. So what does that mean, guys? Why is this important? It's basically constructed a narrative that the Broncos like to throw it deep, and Russell Wilson is very capable of throwing deep. So those are like that's the universe that you want, right? Especially for a player like Marvin Mims. Moving on to Marvin Mims, the little production that he has had so far in his short career in the NFL has been as a deep threat guy. He's got one of the largest average depth of target on the season because he made like 3 big plays in the games that he was actually relevant. And since then, he's been thrown into the dumpsters by the Broncos. Like, they forgot that this dude had juice and was dynamic. Same with McLaughlin. It's like they just forgot these guys actually have something and that they can show something for the Broncos offense. So, I mean, looking at the stats, as you guys can see, deep throws, he got two receptions for 49 yards and a touchdown when he went deep center. I think it was like week 3 or something like that. And then he did it again in week 4. That's the narrative, guys. That's the thesis, man. I know it might be a reach, dude. Marvin Mims could easily end up being he continues to just be a special teams guy. They keep Sutton, they keep Judy. Johnson continues to get snaps over him, which is like the most baffling thing I've ever seen in my life. Is it Brandon Johnson? Yeah, Brandon Johnson. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. He's not getting any snaps. Like, his snap rate started to increase after he had those big weeks in week 2 and 3. And then it just started to decrease again, right? Like 23 snaps in week 6, when they really could have used a deep threat, right, in that Kansas City game. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what the Broncos are doing. Like, Marvin Mims, like, Peyton went after him, dude. They traded up to get Marvin Mims in the draft. He's got 4.38 speed. He's an absolute burner. And that's why he's my lotto ticket, dude. That's why he's my guy that you can basically send out like a fart in a jar and get Marvin Mims from his current owner, because he hasn't done anything, right? Those 2 big weeks, I guarantee you nobody started him. I guarantee you the current owner, Marvin Mims, didn't start him, if it's still even the current owner who had him. So go after him, dude. Throw like a bag of salt and vinegar chips and like I said, a fart in a jar. You might be able to get Marvin Mims maybe for like $2 a fab. It depends. Obviously, if you're in a keeper league, it's probably going to be a little bit tougher. I'm in a keeper league. I have him. Unfortunately, nobody drafted him, so I can't actually keep him next year. But he's a dude that I think could yield a very productive asset moving forward, dude. Especially later in the season, teams are banged up. Teams start to go away from their schemes and their philosophies. And typically, like, deep burner, deep jet type dudes could take advantage of teams that are lulled to sleep. Maybe they don't care as much. Maybe they're out of the playoffs. They're not really like as gung ho or motivated to play, dude. That's where like dudes like Marvin Mims, you just got to sneak behind the defense. So this video is already motherfucking long enough, dude. If you have a Marvin Mims trade and you want my advice on it, dude, head over to the Discord channel. It's going to be in the top of the YouTube description. I'm going to link it, dude. Head to the Discord. It's pretty empty at the moment. I just launched it, dude. Head on in there. Let's banter, dude. Let's talk fantasy. Tell me that I'm a fucking idiot and that you would disagree with everything I'm saying and that Marvin Mims is going to end up being nothing. Let's bet, dude. I'll take that bet. $1. I'll fucking PayPal you if you're right. Hope you guys like the video, man. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.